going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for more of the Dragon Empires, a 5-minute tour. Today it's Mr. Riker Davis, who serendipitously enough requested the last one after I edited it. Well done, sir. Cracking open our Dragon Empires Gazetter, let's talk about Ziha. If you guys have any requests, remember, they go in the description. And today, this episode of the Dragon Empires, a 5-minute tour, was brought to you in part by Lord Menant, or Anthony, over at our Doomsday Dawn playthrough. This is coming down a week late, so here's hoping that he didn't die horribly in the Mirrored Moon, and we're on Heroes of Undaran. Anywho, let's hit it. So the mountain nation of Ziha is at both times a realm of spiritual enlightenment, monastic study, and tranquility, while also being home to vast stretches of bleak, unforgiving terrain populated by giants, savage cannibal tribes, fiendish troglodytes, fun stuff that can be found nowhere else in Tian Sha. Each mountain in the mountain range that is Ziha can be classified in one of 3 categories. The Enlightened Peaks are those under the direct control of the Tien race that calls this realm its ancestral home, the Samsarans. These peaks tend to be focused in the southern end, but extend most of the way up the center of the range. The Savage Peaks are those under control of brutish giants, cannibals, and outcast hobgoblin tribes, which tend to be in the north, or along the borders of Kaoling and Shuye. In the middle of that, the Wild Peaks are those claimed only by monsters and wildlife. The mountains themselves are often snow-capped, with the highest peaks reaching heights of just over 15,000 feet, which of course is significant, but it's dwarfed by the Wall of Heaven on the outskirts of the continent. Now, Ziha was never directly under control of Imperial Lung Hua, but the land enjoyed relatively peaceful relations with the Empire during its time. Distance and inaccessibility played a strong role in Lung Hua's disinterest in direct control of the region. The great cities of Ziha tend to be located near the peaks of mountains, with the majority of the well-constructed stone pagodas that the Samsarans call home being located on the leeward side of them, so not unlike islands in a vast ocean, hard to reach them. The cities are connected by well-maintained roads that allow for easy travel through the Enlightened Peaks, known collectively as Zhongs, which is a Samsaran word that means safety, shelter, and settlement. These cities function primarily as administrative and mercantile centers rather than true bastions of force, with the valleys deep between the Enlightened Peaks being protected not by defenders, but by fortifications and obfuscating magic that hides them from sight and confuses outsiders with illusions and warding enchantments. And of course, this is what we would expect from a race with a buff to 2 mental stats. I love it. Beyond these hidden places, as most wild places are, the mountains themselves are deadly and unforgiving, but they're filled with rare herbs and untapped veins of gold and gemstones that, of course, often tempt visitors into the wilds. Ziha itself interacts very little with its neighbors, with the exception of trade, and its people very rarely leave the mountains that they consider holy. The lack of young children amongst the largely Samsaran cities often unnerves visitors, but there's nothing sinister about the strange feature, because when a Samsaran gives birth, a Samsaran in fact gives birth to human offspring, who are then sent away to live with humans. In the case of Ziha, when a Samsaran gives birth to a child, the newborn is either escorted by its parents to a neighboring human land, think like Amandar, or it's entrusted to one of the dozens of regular long-distance caravans that link trade between Ziha and distant nations. Now, of course, everywhere in Pathfinder has a real-world equivalent. Ziha's no exception. I think, much like the Wall of Heaven, we're looking at Tibet. It's not necessarily the Himalayas, though in the Himalayas Tibet sits. And the Wall of Heaven's got the bigger mountains, but the Tibetan Plateau seems to make a lot of sense to me as the home of several people throughout Earth's history. So too in Ziha, it's the home of one of my favorite races, truly, the Samsaran. That race is stupid powerful. Giving people access to spells that aren't on their spell list is often frankly, just game-breaking. We talked about this in the Samsarin video. Your paladin gets access to cleric spells, your summoner can have access to the better cure spells from the bard list, your anti-paladin can get paladin spells because they're both divine casters, and if that's not enlightenment, I don't know what is. But if I were to bring players here, and I might, we do have a game running in the Dragon Empires right now, I think it's kind of hilarious that you turn the corner, see a thing, make a will save, see an illusion, go explore anyway, and you're walking through a town without even knowing it. One might expect, like, Samsarin rogues or magi or some kind of battle something. Nope, you just see a tree when actually you're looking at a Samsarin in the face. Though, of course, in the most meta way I can think to describe lore, eventually some troglodyte or giant is going to crit that will save, see through the illusion, tell its friends, they get a +4 on the save, they're passing the save, and that's when the Samsarin monk, or the Samsarin summoner, or the Samsarin magus, any in between, has to step in and, slay a thing. And I have a Samsarin in my back pocket, a Samsarin synthesist summoner, say that 10 times fast, that I'd love to play at some point. And Ziha's definitely a great land to slot into his backstory, though I don't know if necessarily we'd adventure here. I could definitely see a Samsarin, like, adventurer type, want to leave Ziha, see more of the world, or be reincarnated somewhere far away with that ancestral memory that this is home, we gotta go back, we gotta see it. But what do you guys think? Have we adventured in Ziha? Have we played Samsarins? And how do we feel about illusion villages? I imagine there's a lot of good stories out there. Throw them in the comments. I need GM ideas. But that's all we have for today. As always, thanks so much for watching, you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe for more sweet content. The next episode of the Dragon Empires, a 5-minute tour, where we're going to talk about a nation that was literally just featured, though we drove through it kind of fast, in A Tale of Three Dragons, Shidao. See you next Friday.